In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how I intuitively design websites. And I'm going to be focusing on one as a case study to show you. And the reason I'm doing this is back in 2023, I joined a mastermind with some other web designer friends. And I was sharing how I designed websites. And they were like, this is really different to how we do it. And I didn't realize that was the case. It's just how I'd always done it. And Squarespace, which is like a multi-billion-dollar company that you can build websites on, that I build all of mine on, they were doing an invite for anybody to pitch their services or their design talk to the Creator Summit that they were doing in New York that year. So I said, I do this thing about intuitive web design. Do you think you'd be interested in learning a bit more about that? Anyway, they loved my pitch. I mean, it was a lot better than what I just said then. And I ended up going to New York and sharing all about this method about how to intuitively design. And it seems a little bit strange because you're like, how do you do that? Because it's all about trusting your intuition, your gut, like, does this feel good to me? Does this feel like my client, or does this feel like my branding should be this way? So hopefully I'm going to take you through all of the steps about how I do it. Don't know why I said hopefully, because I definitely am going to show you how to do this. Hi, I'm Liz Ellery. If you're new here, this channel is all about designing a life and business that you love. We'll be talking about mindset, energy work, branding, website design, and basically taking a whole 360 look at your business so you love it. And if this sounds like the sort of thing that you'd like, I'll be posting weekly videos. You just need to hit subscribe below so you can follow along. Alrighty then, let's begin. So throughout this video, I'm going to be using mainly my client, Katie, who's a registered nutritionist, mindset coach, embodiment guide, functional medicine practitioner, and writer. I'm going to be using her to show you how I design intuitively. And the main thing that I try to do, and my aim, is to translate my clients' energy into their website. So when you look at it, you're like, oh gosh, that's so Katie. Okay, so we'll have a strategy call and I will get to know my client. Like, why did they start their business? What interests them? What did they do before? Who are their clients? And then what I will tell them to do is I will get them to create a Pinterest board. So I'll have a video somewhere in YouTube at some point. If you scroll through, I might put it in the link in description about how to create a brand vision board. And this is things that they're attracted to visually. It might be colors, fonts, shapes, photographs of nature, things like that. So I'll go through that on the client call, and we'll look at that in the next slide about what I do. I'll have a little stalk through their social media just so that I can get to know them, because when I am intuitively designing, it's really important to me that I get to the essence of who this person is. I don't want to design a website for them that doesn't, if they're active on social media, that doesn't align with that, because it would feel incongruent. So there's that. And then I'll get them to fill out a questionnaire. How do they want their clients to feel? That's a question that I ask when they land on their websites. So they might say, I want them to feel safe and calm or excited and happy. So I get all of these nuggets of information before I start my design process. Okay, let's begin with the brand vision board. So all of my clients do this very differently. There's no right or wrong way. When creating a vision board in Pinterest, if you don't know about Pinterest, it's a search engine where you can create boards that have you can do one for your wedding or your home. It's like a curated selection of images in a design style that you want to emanate in your home, wedding, or whatever. So some of my clients, they will split up these boards into sections. So there's a section for logos, there's a section for this, and some will just full on put all of the images in one space, and then I'll look through it. That was what Katie did. So Katie had all of these images on here, and I think if you can see me hovering over here, she had lots of symbols, and there was knew that she was really interested, or she loves nature and the different seasons, and this was very reds, and then these were there were lots of greens in there too. So looking at this, you might think that there was a lot more red than greens, but from chatting with Katie, I just intuitively felt more drawn to the greens for her as well. So what I then do, my next part of my process is I will create a section within their Pinterest board where I put my favorite images that I think really feel really good to me. And I'm like, these feel like Katie, or how I can imagine her brand going. So yeah, it's something in my tummy or something that I just feel that I'm like, I love this for them. So I will then show my client, I'll be saying, look, this is the direction I want to go in. With some other clients in the past, I've done this selection and they're like, actually, I don't like that one. And sometimes you'll find that they'll put things in their Pinterest board. You might do it yourself if this is for you and you're wanting to design your own brand. And you're like, actually, I don't really like that when it's in this favorite selection. So this is the first thing that I do in their Pinterest board, is make the selection. And then you can do this in Canva, which is, I call it very simple Photoshop. It's so easy to use. It's a graphic design tool. I use Photoshop. This is where I've done mine. I will screenshot some websites and then I will color them in the colors that I'm starting to think of for Katie, for my client. And then I will put her photographs in there. So I got her photographs in this mood board collage. I got my favorite images from Pinterest just so I can see, do the favorite images that she's got mix in really well with her photographs, and what colors do I want to use? So I often find that when you are maybe working with a brand designer, not a brand and website designer, they might have colors that are like this small, but when you actually put them onto a website, sometimes they don't work at bigger scale. So that's why I always try and do a little screenshot of a website so I can see what that color looks like at a larger scale, and then put it next to, so I can see it all in one space. And then I just get a gut check read. I'm like, does this feel good? And I'm like, yeah, it does feel pretty good. Then I will look at the banner creation. So this is before you start scrolling on the website, and it's above the fold. Sometimes it might be a moving image on there. It might be a video. It might be just one image and then some text next to it. That's what's on my website. But for Katie, I really felt I just felt guided to do something full width because she had a beautiful photo shoot that she had done in Costa Rica. I think that was the push that made her want to work with me, because she was like, I've got these great images and I know you'll do something brilliant with them. So when I was looking at things, it was just what do I want to do here? Do I want to put the copy over the front of her? Do I want it to be a darker image? Do I want it to be lighter? Because this first image that's on the website, it sets the tone for the rest of all of the pages on there. So for me, it's really important, the opening start of your brand. And what I really felt with Katie, the words that she was using was stop surviving, start thriving. And I wanted something that felt like somebody would land there, like her dream client, and would be like, oh, I feel grounded. I feel like this woman's going to get me, and I feel like she's in the place that I want to get to. So what I started doing was I love these two images of her, and then you can do this better now with AI. This was 3 years ago, but I found images of with trees in the background, and these images that I found of her were actually just portraits, so you didn't have trees or anything in a full width banner image. So I sort of cloned it and made this tree bush landscape a little bit wider. You can so easily do this with AI now in Canva, but I created this section so it went wider, and I had this image of her and then this one, and in this one her eyes are closed and she's not looking at the camera. And normally I always say you should be looking at the person so they can connect, but there was something about this image that, yeah, it hit me in my tummy. I feel a lot of it. Sometimes I feel it in my heart, sometimes I feel it in my tummy. It's intuition. It's something you can't describe or articulate. It's a knowing. And for me, that's it just felt right. Okay, so graphics and imagery, how I source graphics and stock imagery. that I know that my client will love. So looking at Katie's Pinterest board, there were lots of images of like blended of colors and watercolor, like textural things. So I was going on a website called creativemarket.com, and this, I was searching for like watercolor mixes and stuff like that, and this space image came up, and I thought, these are kind of cool. I wonder if these images can be layered, so it will tell you if it is. So in Photoshop, I knew that I could remove the stars from these images. So what I then did was I got these two ones that I thought looked similar to this from her Pinterest board. I removed the stars and then I colored them so that they matched the vibe of the branding that we were going with. Then what I did was I got her Pinterest images again into Photoshop and was just like, okay, getting very clear on which ones I like the best. And then I went into creativemarket.com and I put in gold symbols. And this is what came back. So I downloaded a selection of graphics from there. They're usually about like $20 to $50 for like a pack of like 20, 30 iconography. So I thought these look amazing and they've just like felt really right. And then these two images here were on Katie's Pinterest board in my favorite section that I liked. So then again, I went on Creative Market. I put in something like watercolor leaves. And then this is what came up. I clicked on one of them, and then these were the selection. I was like, love them. I know I can do something really beautiful on the website with them. And then my next thing that I do is I select images from free stock websites. So unsplash.com, pexels.com. I'm sure there are others. They're the main two that I use. You can also use iStock, where you pay for images. That's really great if you want images with people and you want like a whole photo shoot in different like scenes and angles from the same people. That's really great, especially if you're doing something corporate. Now, I was selecting these images and I made sure that you can see that there's a similar tone in them all. They've got like this green, blue, soft tone rather than like bright pinks or something, which would not go with Katie's brand. And I just think you can get like this feeling that Katie's trying to get across, or like her personality. I just know that that's her. Okay, now's the magic part where we put it all together. So this is like a more overall view of what I was showing you earlier, like the screenshots, the banner images, the images that I found on Creative Market with the leaf, the iconography, the two watercolor images that I found. I also want a background that's just a plain watercolor textured paper in the background. So these are the colors that I finalized on, with a highlight of gold for like buttons and call to action sections. So this was the mood board. And then I start designing in Squarespace, which is the online website builder that I use. I start building out the website. I play around with, do I want it to be lighter? Do I want to have like darker bits of the green in there, or like really much bigger bits of green? Because of my conversation with Katie, I know that she wants something light and soulful, but like not too dark. I was getting that vibe from her. So I think I really loved this one, but I just intuitively knew that Katie would love this one more. So you can see on the edges here, we've got the leaves. I think I go into more detail here. So I have to, in Photoshop, get the images with the leaves on, and you can do this in Canva too, so that I can then import it into Squarespace. I think you can do this sort of thing now directly into the platform on Squarespace now. And then this is with all of the writing on. So I don't know if we can zoom in here. We probably can't, but this is a watercolor texture, and we put arches in here, which go with the iconography circles. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few more examples here because I think it's fun. I always love looking at the visuals of what people do. So here's another client's example, Sunday Skies, my lovely client Lee. So this was her Pinterest board. I think this section was her visual identity. She was much more like I am when creating a vision board in Pinterest. She had categories for like the ethos, the visual ID, the logo, the photo shoot. So this was the visual ID. And then I went into Creative Market and I found images and iconography or patterns and shapes that I thought would work really well. I then colored them up once I discovered that I really loved these colors for her color palette. I colored the shapes, which I think were like that. I made them the brand colors. And then I actually did this photo shoot for Lee. And because we'd done the Pinterest board first, we knew that her photo shoot should be in line with the new branding. So we picked a location that worked really well. As you can see, like that green lamp looks great, and the wooden furniture. So this is the website that we did for Lee. I think it's really fun. Now her business has evolved in the years that we've done this, but her branding still stays the same, just the messaging changes. I think that's the beauty. When you work in an intuitive way, you are getting the essence of who you are. So that will stay the same, but you're like who you work with changes, but the branding stays the same. Okay, so this was a client of mine who had a business called House of Possibility. It was like an online members club, very cool, quirky, high-end fashion. We've got like some images on here of like Prada, Miu Miu. I can't remember the name of this artist that has all the porcelain with these images. It's so cool. This is Escher, who I actually did at GCSE in my high school. I did my final project on Escher. Love him. And then I went into Canva and I had fun. It was so playful. I know that this client wanted like kind of like Annabelle's in London, like the private members club that was like quite luxurious and a bit bougie and a bit boudoir-y and yeah, very sexy. So I knew that those were the words that she wanted. So and also fun and a bit like quirky, like I was saying. So we've got like the fun fox or whatever this animal is in like a dressing gown. Then we've got like this beautiful wallpaper, these crazy animals, the butterfly. I think intuitively it feels like the words I know that she wanted to evoke. And then this was the website that I created. So you've got like this dark sexiness here, and it's mysterious, like with this key lock that you've got to unlock getting involved into this members site. Okay. This is probably the most bonkers Pinterest board that I've got ever. From my client Shannon, who had a dance studio. She's amazing. She's a really close friend now. But she had on there Bjork, 1970s graphics. She's got like drag queens on there, The Muppet Show. I mean, Farrah Fawcett on a skateboard. I mean, the Virgin Mary. I mean, it was bonkers. And I think this is such a fun one for me. It's like, what am I going to do with this? And because I'd had the conversation with Shannon beforehand, I knew she wanted it to be fun. She wanted it to be playful and just have this sort of essence about it. So I was like, right, let's see what we're going to do. So I got all of her images and her photos, and then some of the images from the Pinterest board. I put it on my main scrapbook style mood board, and then I started like looking at the logo, what I could do with the logo. Am I going to put some animals on there? What I really liked, she had some quite simple photography, and then you can see here, for instance, this green one, you know, I put like a funky background in the background. We didn't do that. But this one here, where she's dancing, that was a grey background and I made it pink. So this is what we came up with for her. We've got this curve that was in one of the logos that she had. We've got that like curvy 70s line here. We've got the line in the sections that's all curvy. We've got like some stars. The dancing is for high school children. So, or like, I think they're from actually maybe say age 5 to like 20. So it's very fun and playful. Then we've got Nicole, who's a medium, and she wanted something that felt very luxurious, warm, decadent, like soulful. Nicole didn't do her Pinterest board. I actually did it for her from our conversation. I was just like, I feel like Nicole will really love this. All right, so went on Creative Market, really loved this imagery here, but it felt a little bit, even though she's a medium, it felt a little bit like the plants were all dying, and I didn't want that. So these were the images that I found on Creative Market. I should again Creative Market be an affiliate for them. So what I did is I made them really pop the colours so they were more bright. And then I put, this is the final website, I put them in the corners. I found that, like, again, like Katie's website, I found some gold iconography and put them behind her imagery. I cut her out so she blended in with the background, which is like a really, you can't really see it, but it's like got a really beautiful texture to it. So really happy with how this came out. And then this was for actually my first coach. If you look at one of my videos called You Are a Badass, I'll pop it in the descriptions below. When I met Jen Sincero at a lunch, I asked her, I said I really wanted to coach. And she said, you need to work with my friend Kat. This is Kat. So she was my first coach. I designed her first website. She'd evolved since I'd worked with her. I think it was like 5 years later, I redid her website. So this was the original one, which was very earthy, very soulful. And Kat had, but she was starting to write songs for like famous artists, and she was discovering her more creative, witchy side, I think. So her Pinterest board was so different to what it was before. She had like images of Steve Nicks on here, like some Art Nouveau style images here. She always loved the iconography or the meaning behind like a pearl, how you open this like innocuous sort of rock and then like there's a treasure inside it, and that's what she helps people do, is discover their treasure. She's also got these Celtic symbols because she's from Ireland, her roots are from Ireland. So this is what we created for her, and I really wanted something like bold with the font so that it really got her messaging across like in a really strong way. And we went really simple. So it's like bridge the gap between dreams and reality, manifest serious money, achieve your dreams, soar and help others, shine brightly. But what we did was we made certain words pop. Speaking, unlocking minds. She's got this beautiful photo shoot done that's very reminiscent of like a 70s romantic style vibe. There you've got Jen Sincero there giving her a testimony, and Nick Mulvey. And we've got the pearl graphic here. It's a bit of a wild card image, but she loved it. Then we've got like, it's not a Celtic symbol per se, but it does have that feel. So it's just like this feeling of the new direction she was going in. And I think we really nailed it there. And then I think this is the final one that I'm showing you in this intuitive web design video. And it's for a client that I work with who creates the most beautiful, wonderful, special, one of a kind golden compasses. So you might find like a grandfather's granddaughter is going off to the Navy and he wants to get her something really special. So he will commission a golden compass that G will create in her studio in south of France. And then it will have like an inscription on it or some sort of beautiful detail. And her website, she was very good at SEO, so she was like doing very well at being found on Google, but she didn't feel it conveyed the story and the branding and the messaging that she wanted to get across. So I got her to do this Pinterest board, and it's like got lots of wonderful French like feeling of interiors in there. She loves plants and like the textures of plants, and then these were like her very purpley green color palette that she loved. So then, I was picking out textures. I mean, I've just got a garden. I should know what this sort of, is it shrubs? I don't know. I'm shit at that sort of thing. I am going to get a better gardener. So we looked at the competition, and I think it all felt a little bit cold and heartless, and that's not what we wanted for her brand. So I was thinking of bringing in texture and shadows maybe on the imagery. This was her website originally. She's got her darker colours there, but I don't feel like it all blends in together. So then this is what I did. I made this image in Photoshop. Again, you could do this in Canva now by using like their cutout tools for imagery, which usually had a white background. We put shadows on there on a textured background image. We've, we put in this plant background. This where she's got testimonials, like a textured background. So I just feel like everything works a little bit better. I hope that's been helpful for you and you've enjoyed this journey of how I intuitively design websites. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about this, I'm going to pop in the description a link to my Dream Brand Website Toolkit, and you'll be on my newsletter where I take you behind the scenes of my business a little bit more, things that I might not share on YouTube. And also you're going to get this amazing toolkit, which will give you like website checklists, how to do your personal branding photo shoot, how to use Canva, how to create a brand vision board, how these vision boards all come together. I've got like a real great walkthrough about that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and stay and you can watch the next video coming up.